Now, modern day Nineveh, and we've panned out. You can actually see Haifa down in the bottom left hand corner of your screen right here. This is going to be old Joppa, right? Modern day Haifa is Joppa that we read about in the Old Testament. And we can see the Sea of Galilee due east of that. And we can go all the way over and up to the top right corner of the map here. And modern day Mosul is actually ancient Nineveh. We know that for sure. I'm going to explain why we know that for sure and actually show you some maps there of that area a little zoomed in here in a second. But straight line between the two, right, where Gath Hefer is kind of in that upper Galilean area to Mosul is about 500 miles. Okay, straight from Jonah's home and Gath Hefer up to Nineveh. So think of it from, I live in Indiana. So if you put a pin in the middle of Indiana and you were to drive to the far side of Iowa from here, it's 7.5 hour drive in a car. That's 500 miles. We first kind of learn of the town of Nineveh, again, modern day Mosul on your map, in Genesis 10:11. Nimrod is its founder, right? Founder of the Tower of Babel. We have Babylon itself. This whole area, right, is known as that Fertile Crescent, and all of the wicked things that we see throughout time are kind of happening in this whole crescent area, if you will, throughout all of the Old Testament. So other than Babylon itself, Nineveh is probably the second most important city of the time and is the seat of the Assyrian kingdom at this particular point. And you can kind of think of this whole area to the right here as that is all Satan's turf, right? God has his kingdom, which is Israel, that whole small area down in the bottom corner of your map. And then Satan has his kingdom, pretty much everything east of that. And this whole Fertile Crescent area is definitely his kingdom. So we have several gods. Obviously, they're not worshiping the God that we worship in Nineveh. They're worshiping a couple other gods. So we have Asher, who is the god of war associated with Enlil, Marduk. Ultimately, it all reverts back to Satan at the end of the day. We have Ishtar, who is the goddess of sex and fertility and war. And then we have Dagon. He's going to be featured in our story today pretty prominently, who is the god of the sea, agriculture, fertility. So you can go back. I'm not getting into the history lesson of each of these deities today, but they're all pagan related. They're all worshiping gods other than our God, and it goes into a lot deeper stuff from there. But you have to understand that Nineveh at the time of the writing of Jonah is probably the seat of the most evil place or one of the most evil places on the earth. These people were into everything and anything that you can imagine. Sorcery, idolatry, extreme cruelty and violence, sexual sin of every kind of variety imaginable. Nothing's off limits. Imagine Sodom and Gomorrah on steroids, human and child sacrifice, celestial worship. So if they have some kind of event that happens that they see in the sky, and that's going to be a little lead into what we're going to talk about. This is going to be really earth-shattering to them and mean a lot because they're looking for astrological symbols. That's one of the other things that they really worship was the god Sin, who is all celestial-based. He's not on the screen here because it's kind of a separate deity, but anything like that is going to really catch their attention. So kind of put this into context of what God is officially asking Jonah to do. It's kind of like, if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, Jonah has just basically been put in the role of Frodo, and he's been asked to march 500 miles into Mordor on foot, not to destroy the Ring of Power or destroy the Ninevites, but really to call them to repentance, right? It would be like the Frodo and Samwise going in there and calling Sauron and Saruman and all the orcs to repentance, right? Think of it that way, how that would go. So as you can imagine in Jonah's mind, this is going to be a hard no for him. These are horrible people. He knows this. Worst place on earth. He actually wants God to destroy them.